The folder hits the desk with a sound that feels too loud in the quiet office. Special Agent Reese Chen doesn't flinch. She's been doing this job for 6 years, long enough to know that when your supervisor calls you in alone, closes the blinds, and slides a classified file across the table, your life is about to get complicated. Dominic Pierce, her supervisor says, tapping the photograph paper-clipped to the front. 34 years old, CEO of Pierce Technologies, net worth $3.2 billion, and according to our financial crimes division, he's been laundering money for the Volkov crime syndicate for the past 18 months. Reese studies the photo. Dark hair, sharp jawline, the kind of face that belongs on magazine covers, not wanted posters. He's caught mid-laugh in the image at some charity gala, champagne glass in hand. He doesn't look like a criminal. But then again, the smart ones never do. What's the evidence? She asks. Her supervisor, Agent Marcus Webb, 20-year veteran with the FBI, her mentor since she graduated Quantico, opens the folder. Bank statements, wire transfers, a web of shell companies that would take hours to untangle. $53 million moved through Pierce Technologies accounts in the last year alone, he says. The pattern matches known Volkov operations. We think Pierce is using his company's international contracts as cover. Clean money goes in, dirty money goes out. Classic laundering operation. Reese nods slowly, scanning the documents. The numbers are damning, the timing suspicious, but something nags at her, a detail that doesn't quite fit. Why hasn't he been arrested? She asks. Because we can't prove he knows about it, Marcus admits. His CFO, Julian Hayes, handles all the financial operations. Pierce signs off on everything, but his lawyers will argue he trusted his team. We need proof that Pierce is personally involved. We need to get inside. And there it is, the reason she's sitting in this office. You want me to go undercover? Marcus meets her eyes. Pierce Technologies is hiring cleaning staff, night shift. You'd have access to his office after hours. Security cameras, but we can handle those. 3 months, maybe 4. Get us what we need to build a case. Reese sits back in her chair. Undercover work is always risky, but this is different. This isn't infiltrating a street gang or a drug ring. This is corporate espionage, white-collar crime, a world she's only touched from the outside. He's dangerous, Reese, Marcus continues. Not violent, but smart, and connected. If the Volkovs are using him, they're protecting him. One wrong move and you're not just burned, you're dead. She should say no, request a different assignment, let someone else take the risk. But Reese has never been good at taking the safe path. When do I start? She asks. Marcus slides another document across the desk. Her new identity. Reese Hoffman, 28 years old, high school education, no criminal record. Recently moved to the city looking for work. Simple, unremarkable, invisible. Exactly what she needs to be.
Before we go any further, I need to know something. Have you ever had to become someone else? Pretend to be someone you're not for a job, for family, for survival? Drop a comment if you've ever lived a double life, even a small one. And if this story already has you hooked, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you're gonna want to see how this ends.
The Pierce Technologies building is glass and steel. 37 floors of modern architecture rising into the downtown skyline. At night, it glows like a beacon, office lights creating patterns against the dark. Reese, now Reese Hoffman, cleaning lady, pushes her cart through the revolving doors at exactly 9:47 p.m. She's wearing the uniform they gave her at orientation that morning. Plain blue polo shirt with the Clean Pro logo, black pants, hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. No makeup, comfortable shoes. The kind of outfit designed to make you disappear into the background. Perfect. The night security guard barely glances at her ID badge before waving her through. She's just the help, beneath notice, exactly as planned. The 34th floor is executive territory. Corner offices, marble floors, art that probably costs more than she makes in a year. The kind of place where people make decisions that move markets, destroy competitors, and, if Marcus is right, launder money for organized crime. Reese starts in the hallway, emptying trash cans, wiping down surfaces, learning the layout, counting security cameras, noting which offices have windows, which have safes, which doors are locked. Dominic Pierce's office is at the end of the hall. Double doors, frosted glass with his name etched in clean, modern letters. She saved it for last, giving herself time to work up to it. The doors are unlocked. She pauses, hand on the handle, listening. The floor is supposed to be empty. Everyone goes home by 7. That's what they told her in orientation, but she's learned to verify everything. Silence. She pushes the door open. The office is massive, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Minimalist furniture, a glass desk, leather chairs, a couch that probably costs more than her car, bookshelves lined with technical manuals and business strategy guides, everything perfectly organized. And sitting at the desk, laptop open, tie loosened, is Dominic Pierce. He looks up, and for a split second, Reese's training kicks in. Exit strategies, cover story, weapons she doesn't have because cleaning ladies don't carry guns. But he just smiles. "Sorry," he says, standing. "I'm usually gone by now, but I'm dealing with a crisis in Tokyo. Time zones are killing me." His voice is warm, genuine, nothing like what she expected from a man supposedly in business with the Russian mafia. "It's okay," she manages, keeping her voice soft, deferential, playing the role. "I can come back later." No, please," he gestures to the office. "Don't let me interrupt your work. I'll be quiet, I promise." She hesitates, then pushes her card inside. This is a complication. She's supposed to plant listening devices, photograph documents, search his computer. She can't do any of that with him sitting 3 feet away. But she can observe. She starts with the trash can, moving methodically, watching him from the corner of her eye. He's focused on his laptop, fingers flying across the keyboard, brow furrowed in concentration. Every few seconds, he glances at a second monitor, displaying what looks like a video conference. Men in suits, speaking what might be Japanese. He looks tired. Actually tired, not just long day at the office tired. There are shadows under his eyes. His usually perfect hair is slightly disheveled, and when he thinks she's not looking, he rubs his temples like he's fighting off a headache. "Do you need anything?" she asks, surprising herself. He glances up, and for a moment, he looks genuinely grateful. "Coffee would be amazing if it's not too much trouble. There's a machine down the hall. Black, no sugar. I can show you. I know where it is," she says quickly. "I'll be right back." She leaves her cart and heads for the break room, mind racing. This isn't in the playbook. She's not supposed to interact with him beyond basic greetings, but walking away now would seem suspicious. The coffee machine is industrial, the kind that makes terrible coffee very efficiently. She starts a fresh pot, watching it drip, using the time to think. Dominic Pierce doesn't act like a criminal. He said please and thank you. He apologized for startling her. He's working at 10 o'clock at night on something that looks legitimate. But criminals are good at hiding. That's what makes them dangerous. She pours the coffee into a disposable cup, black, no sugar like he asked, and heads back. He's standing at the window when she returns, phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapidly in what sounds like fluent Japanese. He ends the call as she approaches, taking the coffee with a grateful nod. "You're a lifesaver," he says, taking a sip. "Thank you, Miss Hoffman," she supplies. "Reese Hoffman." "Dominic Pierce." He extends his hand and she shakes it. noting the firm grip, the calluses that suggest he does more than just sit behind a desk. "Nice to meet you, Reese. How long have you been with CleanPro?" "This is my first week." "First week and you're already dealing with workaholics like me." He smiles, and it transforms his face, makes him look younger, less like a CEO and more like a regular person. "Welcome to Pierce Technologies. I hope the job treats you well." It's small talk, meaningless, but there's something in the way he says it, genuine, not patronizing, that catches her off guard. "Thank you," she says, moving back to her card. "I'll let you get back to work." She finishes cleaning, dusting, vacuuming, wiping down surfaces, while he returns to his laptop. They don't speak again, but she's aware of him the entire time. The way he works, the occasional frustrated sigh when something doesn't go his way, the moment when he finally closes a laptop and just sits there, staring out at the city like he's carrying the weight of the world. When she's done, she heads for the door. "Reese?" She turns. "Thank you for the coffee, and for not minding that I was here. I know it probably makes your job harder." "It's fine," she says, and means it, which bothers her more than she'd like to admit. She leaves, pushing her cart down the empty hallway, and doesn't let herself look back. But she thinks about him for the rest of her shift.
Real talk. Do you think first impressions matter, or can people surprise you? Comment trust if you believe people show their true selves right away, or deceive if you think everyone's hiding something. I'm genuinely curious where you stand on this.
The first week becomes 2. 2 becomes a month. Reese falls into a rhythm. Arrive at 9:45 p.m., badge in, take the service elevator to 34, clean, plant bugs, photograph documents, download data from computers when the opportunity presents itself, report everything to Marcus, and try very hard not to think about the fact that Dominic Pierce is there almost every night. He shouldn't be. CEOs don't work until midnight 5 days a week. They delegate. They have people for that. But Dominic isn't like most CEOs. He learns her name after the first week, asks about her day, offers to move when she needs to clean his desk, always says thank you. "You don't have to do that," she tells him one night, watching him carefully pack up his laptop and files so she can dust the surface. "Do what?" "Move. I can work around you." "But that makes your job harder." He shifts to the couch, spreading his papers across the coffee table. "This way you can actually clean, and I can pretend I'm working from somewhere more comfortable. Win-win." She doesn't argue, just cleans the desk, trying to ignore the way he's created an entire mobile office on the couch, papers organized in neat stacks, laptop balanced on his knees. "Can I ask you something?" he says after a few minutes. She tenses, ready for the question that will blow her cover. "Sure." "Do you like working nights?" Not what she expected. "It's quiet," she says carefully. "Less people, easier to focus." "I get that." He types something, then stops, looking up. "I'm the same way. During the day, it's meetings, phone calls, everyone needing something. At night, I can actually think." "What are you working on?" she asks, then mentally kicks herself. Don't engage, don't get curious, don't care. But it's too late. He hesitates, like he's deciding how much to share, then shrugs. "We're developing a new encryption protocol. It's boring technical stuff, but if we get it right, it could change how data security works. We're presenting to investors next month, and I'm trying to make sure everything's perfect." Sounds important. It is. He looks at his laptop, then back at her. "My dad started this company 30 years ago, built it from nothing. When he died, I inherited it, and every day I worry I'm going to screw it up. So I work too much, sleep too little, and drink too much coffee." He raises the cup she brought him earlier. "Speaking of which, thank you for enabling my addiction." She shouldn't laugh, but she does. And that's when she realizes she's in trouble. Because Dominic Pierce isn't supposed to be likable. He's supposed to be a criminal, a money launderer, a man in business with the Russian mafia. But every night she sees something that contradicts that narrative. The way he treats the security guards, learning their names, asking about their families. The way he leaves generous tips in the break room fund for the cleaning staff, even though he doesn't have to. The way he takes calls from employees at all hours, patiently walking them through problems, never raising his voice. The way he looks at his company like it's a living thing he's responsible for protecting. Criminals don't do that. Or maybe they do and she's just not seeing the whole picture. She reports everything to Marcus during their weekly check-ins. The late nights, the work habits, the conversations. Any progress on the financial evidence? Marcus asks. Not yet. His office computer is clean. Everything's password protected and encrypted. I've been trying to access his personal files, but he's there every night. Then we need to get him out of the office. How? Marcus considers. His CFO, Julian Hayes, is the one handling the actual transactions. We've been monitoring his communications. There's a pattern. Every third Friday, Hayes meets someone at the Meridian Hotel downtown. We think it's a Volkov connection. If we can get Pierce to attend one of these meetings, we can prove he's involved. And if he's not involved? Marcus gives her a look. The money's moving through his company, Reese. He's either involved or he's criminally negligent. Either way, we need evidence. She nods, but doubt is starting to creep in. The kind of doubt that gets agents killed. That night, she's cleaning Dominic's office when she notices something. His desk calendar is open, and there's an entry for next Friday. Dinner with Julian, 8 p.m., Meridian. Her heart races. This is it, the connection Marcus needs. Proof that Dominic knows about the meetings, attends them, participates in the money laundering operation. She should feel triumphant. Instead, she feels sick. Because if Dominic is at that meeting, it means everything she's been telling herself, that he's different, that he's innocent, that there's an explanation, is wrong. You okay? She jumps, nearly dropping her cleaning spray. Dominic is standing in the doorway, jacket over his arm, tie already loosened. He looks concerned. Sorry, she quickly says. Long day. I hear that, he says. Though I guess for you it's a long night. Both, she admits. He studies her for a moment, and she has the unsettling feeling that he sees more than he should, that somehow, despite all her training, she's become transparent. Can I ask you something personal? He says. Every instinct screams danger. Okay. Why are you really working nights as a cleaning lady? He says. The question hits like a punch. What do you mean? You're smart, he says simply. The way you move, the way you observe things, the way you talk, you're educated. This job is beneath you. She forces a laugh, playing it off. Maybe I just need the money. Maybe, he doesn't sound convinced. But I've been doing this long enough to recognize someone who's overqualified for their position. You remind me of someone who's between chapters, figuring things out. It's too close to the truth, too perceptive. I needed a job that didn't ask questions, she says, which isn't entirely a lie. Sometimes that's more important than using your degree. He nods slowly. I get that. And for what it's worth, I'm glad you're here. You do good work. Thank you. He picks up his jacket, heading for the door, then pauses. Reese, if you ever need anything, a reference, a better position, help, you let me know, okay? I take care of the people who work for me. And then he's gone, leaving her alone in his office, staring at the calendar entry for next Friday, the meeting that might prove he's everything Marcus says he is, or might prove he's something else entirely.
If you're feeling the tension right now, if you're not sure whether Dominic is the bad guy or the good guy, drop a heart in the comments. And if you're already emotionally invested in these two, hit that like button, because trust me, it's about to get so much more complicated.
Friday night arrives too fast. Reese has spent the week preparing, requisitioned surveillance equipment from the FBI Tech Division, studied the Meridian Hotel's layout, memorized Julian Hayes' face from the files Marcus provided. The plan is simple. Follow Dominic to the meeting, record everything, get the evidence they need to build a RICO case. Simple. Except nothing about this feels simple anymore. She's parked across the street from the Pierce Technologies building at 7:30 p.m., watching the executive entrance. Her heart is pounding in a way it hasn't since her first undercover operation 6 years ago. At 7:42, Dominic emerges. He's dressed for dinner, Charcoal suit, crisp white shirt, no tie. He looks good, which she tries very hard not to notice. His driver pulls up in a black town car, and Dominic slides into the back seat. Reese follows at a careful distance. The Meridian Hotel is old money in new excess. Marble lobby, crystal chandeliers, the kind of place where a single meal costs more than most people's rent. Reese has been inside exactly once for surveillance training. She hated it then. She hates it now. Dominic's car pulls up to the valet. He gets out, exchanges pleasantries with the doorman, and heads inside. Reese parks 2 blocks away and follows on foot. The restaurant is on the 2nd floor. Private dining rooms, discreet service, the kind of place where illegal deals get made over expensive wine. Reese has arranged for her to have access through a service entrance. She slips inside, following the maintenance corridors until she finds the room. Through the 2-way mirror installed years ago for exactly this kind of surveillance, she can see Dominic sitting at a table. He's alone. She checks her watch. 8:04 p.m. Julian Hayes should be here by now. Minutes pass. 8:10, 8:15. Dominic orders a drink, checks his phone, looks around the room like he's waiting for someone. At 8:23, Julian Hayes arrives. He's exactly what Reese expected. Mid-50s, expensive suit, the kind of smile that doesn't reach his eyes. He greets Dominic with a handshake and sits down, immediately launching into conversation. Reese activates the recording device hidden in her watch. "Appreciate you making time for this, Dominic," Julian is saying. "I know you've been busy with the Tokyo contracts." "Always time for you, Julian." Dominic's voice is polite but professional. "What did you want to discuss?" "The quarterly financials. There are some discrepancies I wanted to go over with you before the board meeting next week." Discrepancies. Reese's pulse quickens. This is it. Julian pulls out a tablet, scrolling through what looks like spreadsheets. "We've had some unexpected transfers in our international accounts. Nothing alarming, but I want to make sure you're aware." Dominic frowns. "What kind of transfers?" "Payments to shell companies we've never worked with before. Eastern European holdings mostly. I've been trying to trace the origin, but the paper trail is complicated." Reese leans forward, straining to hear every word. "How much are we talking about?" Dominic asks. "Roughly 50 million over the past 18 months. 50 million? Dominic goes very still. 50 million? "I know it sounds bad. It sounds catastrophic." Dominic's voice is sharp now, all business. "Why am I only hearing about this now?" Julian has the grace to look uncomfortable. "I thought I could handle it internally, track down the source, fix the problem before it became an issue, but I can't find where the money's coming from, and I can't stop the transfers without your authorization." "My authorization?" Dominic sets down his drink carefully, and Reese recognizes the forced calm of someone trying not to lose their temper. "Julian, you're the CFO. You have full financial authority. Why would you need my sign-off on something like this?" "Because whoever set this up used your credentials." The words hang in the air like a bomb. Dominic stares at him. "What?" "The transfers are being authorized using your access codes, your digital signature. As far as the system's concerned, you're the one moving the money." And suddenly, everything clicks into place for Reese. Dominic isn't the criminal. He's the patsy. Someone is using Pierce Technologies, his credentials, his reputation to launder money. And when the FBI moves in, when they arrest him, prosecute him, destroy him, the real criminal walks away clean. "I want everything," Dominic says quietly. "Every transfer, every account, every piece of data you have. And I want to know who has access to my credentials." That's the problem. Julian looks genuinely distressed. "Only 3 people have that level of access. You, me, and our head of IT security. I've been through the logs, and there's no evidence of a breach. Whoever's doing this knew exactly how to cover their tracks." Dominic's jaw tightens. "Then we bring in outside auditors, forensic accountants, whatever it takes to find out who's behind this." "Dominic, if this goes public, if the board finds out, if our investors find out, it could destroy the company. Your father built this from nothing. Are you willing to risk that?" My father built this company on integrity, Dominic says, voice hard. If there's corruption, we root it out. I don't care what it costs. Julian nods slowly. I was hoping you'd say that. I've already started compiling the evidence. I'll have a full report to you by Monday. They talk for another 20 minutes. Technical details, legal strategies, damage control plans. Reese records all of it, mind racing. Marcus was wrong. The evidence pointed to Dominic, but the evidence was planted. Someone inside Pierce Technologies is using the company to launder money, and they've set up Dominic to take the fall. And in a week, when the FBI raids his office, arrests him, seizes his company's assets, that someone will disappear. Unless she stops it. The meeting ends. Dominic and Julian shake hands. Julian leaves first, and Dominic sits alone at the table for a long moment, head in his hands. He looks exhausted, devastated, like the weight of the world just got a little heavier. Reese should leave, report back to Marcus, tell him what she heard, but she can't shake the image of Dominic sitting there, alone, dealing with a crisis he didn't create and doesn't deserve. She makes a decision that will probably end her career. She walks into the dining room. Dominic looks up, surprised. Then recognition dawns. Reese? We need to talk, she says, and everything changes.
Okay, who saw that coming? Comment innocent if you believed Dominic from the start, or guilty if you thought he was dirty. And if you're dying to know what happens next, smash that subscribe button because this story is about to take a wild turn.
How long have you been following me? They're in Dominic's car. His driver dropped him off at his penthouse, and Reese followed him inside because there was no other choice. Not anymore. 6 weeks, she says. He's standing by the floor-to-ceiling windows of his living room, looking out at the city, not at her. She can see his reflection in the glass, the tight set of his shoulders, the way his hands are clenched at his sides. Are you actually a cleaning lady? No. FBI? Yes. He turns to face her, and the look in his eyes, betrayal, anger, hurt, makes her chest ache. You've been investigating me. I was sent to investigate you, she corrects, but after tonight, I know you're not the one we should be looking at. How generous of you. His voice is acid. 6 weeks of lying to me, pretending to be someone you're not, and now you've decided I'm innocent? Should I be grateful? You should listen. She steps closer, keeping her hands visible, non-threatening. The FBI thinks you've been laundering money for the Volkov crime syndicate. $53 million moved through Pierce Technologies accounts over 18 months. The evidence all points to you. But I didn't... I know. She cuts him off. I heard your conversation with Julian. Someone's using your credentials, your company, your reputation to move dirty money. And they've set it up so that when the FBI moves in, you're the one who goes to prison. Dominic's face goes pale. The FBI is planning to arrest me? They're building a RICO case, racketeering, money laundering, conspiracy. You're looking at 20 years minimum. He sits down heavily on the couch, and for a moment, he just breathes. My father spent 30 years building this company, he says quietly. He died thinking I'd protect it, grow it, and instead, I'm going to be the one who destroys it. Not if we stop them. He looks up. We? Julian said he'd have a full report by Monday. If he's telling the truth, that report will show who's actually behind the laundering. But if he's lying, if he's the one setting you up, then we need to find the evidence ourselves before he can destroy it. You think Julian's dirty? I think it's suspicious that he's the CFO, the person with the most access to financial systems, and he's only bringing this to your attention now. If I were setting someone up, I'd do exactly what he's doing. Play the loyal employee, offer to help investigate, then control the narrative. Dominic stands, pacing. Julian has been with this company for 15 years. He worked with my father. I trust him. Then maybe I'm wrong, she says, but we have to consider every possibility. And what do you get out of this? His eyes narrow. If you help me, you're going against your own investigation, your career. Why would you do that? It's the question she's been asking herself for the past hour. Because I took an oath to pursue justice, not to close easy cases. You're innocent. That means someone else is guilty, and I'm not going to let an innocent man go to prison just because the evidence is convenient. He searches her face, looking for the lie, the angle, the trap. He won't find one. Okay, he says finally. What do we do? Relief floods through her. First, we need to secure your computer systems. If someone's using your credentials, they have access to everything. We shut that down tonight. I can lock down the executive accounts remotely. Good. Do it now. And I need access to your financial records, all of them. If Julian's dirty, there'll be a trail. Money always leaves a trail. Dominic pulls out his laptop, fingers flying across the keyboard. Within minutes, he's implemented new security protocols, changed passwords, activated two-factor authentication on every system. Done, he says. Now what? Now I need to tell my supervisor what I found. The FBI agent who sent you to investigate me. Dominic's voice is flat. You think he's going to believe you when you say I'm innocent? I don't know. She pulls out her phone, dialing Marcus's number. It rings 3 times before he picks up. Webb. It's Reese. We need to talk. Did you get the recording from the meeting? I did, but Marcus, Dominic Pierce isn't our guy. Silence on the other end. Reese, what are you talking about? Someone's setting him up. I heard the conversation with Julian. Pierce didn't know about the transfers. Someone's using his credentials to move the money, and he's being framed. Or, Marcus says slowly, his CFO is covering for him, and you just witnessed them coordinating their story. She closes her eyes. She knew he'd say that. Marcus, where are you right now? Pierce's penthouse. Christ, Reese, Marcus's voice goes hard. You're compromised. You're alone with the target, in his home, telling me he's innocent based on one conversation? Do you realize how this looks? I know how it looks, but I also know what I heard. Julian Hayes is either the real criminal or he's trying to help Pierce cover it up. Either way, we need to investigate him, not Pierce. We've been investigating Hayes for months. He's clean. Or he's smart enough to hide it. She glances at Dominic, who's watching her with an unreadable expression. Give me 3 days. Let me dig into the financials. If I'm wrong, I'll step aside. But if I'm right, we'll have the real criminal. Marcus is quiet for a long moment. 3 days, he says finally. But Reese, if you're wrong about this, if Pierce is playing you, you're done. Not just with this case, with the Bureau. Do you understand? I understand. She ends the call. Dominic is still watching her. He thinks I'm manipulating you. He thinks I'm compromised. Are you? The question hangs between them. Reese could lie, should lie, but she's so tired of lying. I don't know, she admits. 6 weeks ago, I thought you were a criminal. Now I think you're innocent. And I'm not sure if that's because the evidence changed or because She stops, not ready to finish that sentence. Because you what? Because I started to care, and that makes me a terrible FBI agent. Dominic steps closer. Or it makes you human. The distance between them is too small. She should move away, maintain professional boundaries, remember why she's here. But she doesn't. We should get started, she says rougher than she intends. We're on a clock. He nods, stepping back, giving her space. My office. I'll pull up the financial records. They work through the night, spreadsheets, bank statements, wire transfer records, digital paper trails that lead in circles through shell companies and offshore accounts designed to confuse and misdirect. But Reese has been trained for this. She knows how to follow money, how to spot patterns, how to find the one thread that when pulled unravels everything. At 4:17 a.m., she finds it. Dominic. He looks up from his laptop, eyes red from staring at screens for hours. Look at this. She turns her computer to show him. Every transfer goes through a company called Baltic Enterprises. It's registered in the Cayman Islands, which makes it nearly impossible to trace. But I cross-referenced it with your company's vendor list, and 3 years ago, Pierce Technologies hired Baltic Enterprises as a consulting firm. I don't remember that. You wouldn't. It was a small contract, system security review, and the person who approved it was Julian Hayes. Dominic goes very still. Julian hired them? Julian hired them, gave them access to your systems, and then 3 years later, money starts moving through Baltic Enterprises accounts using your credentials. And here's the interesting part. Julian has been making regular trips to the Cayman Islands, 4 times in the past year, always on weekends, always for personal reasons. He's running the operation. He's running the operation, she confirms. He set you up from the beginning, hired a front company, gave them access, used your credentials to authorize transfers, and when the FBI started investigating, he positioned himself as the loyal employee, trying to help. When you go down, he disappears with $50 million. Dominic stands, walking to the window. The sun is starting to rise, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. Julian worked with my father. He came to the funeral, told me how proud my dad would be, and the whole time he was planning to destroy everything we built? I'm sorry. He turns to look at her. Don't be. You found the truth. That's what matters. Now we need to prove it.
Before we continue, have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted? Someone who smiled to your face while planning to destroy you? If this hits close to home, drop a comment and share this video. You're not alone. And if you need to see Julian get what he deserves, hit that like button.
Monday morning, Dominic walks into his office at 7 a.m. Julian is already there. Morning, Julian says, standing to shake Dominic's hand. I have that report we discussed. Excellent. Dominic takes the folder, flipping through it. Financial records, transfer details, a list of suspect accounts. It's all meticulously documented, professional, exactly what you'd expect from a competent CFO. It's also completely fabricated. Reese, watching from the conference room across the hall via the hidden camera she installed over the weekend, can see Julian's tells. The way he shifts his weight when Dominic asks a question, the practiced answers, the slight tension in his shoulders. He's good, but not good enough. This is completely comprehensive, Dominic says, closing the folder. You've identified the accounts, traced the transfers, even found potential suspects. I want it to be thorough. I appreciate that. Dominic sets the folder down. There's just one thing I don't understand. Julian tenses. What's that? Why didn't you mention Baltic Enterprises? The color drains from Julian's face. I'm sorry? Baltic Enterprises, Dominic says, but Cayman Islands consulting firm, the one you hired 3 years ago, the one that's been facilitating all these transfers. You mentioned shell companies, Eastern European holdings, suspect accounts, but you didn't mention the one company that connects them all. Julian recovers quickly. Baltic Enterprises is a legitimate consulting firm. I didn't include them because they're not relevant to. They're the key to the entire operation. Dominic stands. And you know that because you set it up. Dominic, I think you're confused. Am I? Dominic pulls out his laptop, turning it to show the screen. Because I spent the weekend going through our financial records, every transfer, every account, every piece of data. And you know what I found? A pattern. Money flows from Pierce Technologies to Baltic Enterprises, from Baltic Enterprises to a dozen shell companies, from those shell companies to accounts controlled by the Volkov crime syndicate. And the person who authorized every single transfer was you. Julian's mask slips, just for a second, but it's enough. You're going to need proof of that. I have proof. Dominic taps the laptop. Transaction logs, email communications, travel records showing your trips to the Cayman Islands, and my personal favorite, the original contract you signed with Baltic Enterprises, giving them access to our systems. Julian is silent. Here's what's going to happen, Dominic continues. You're going to resign, effective immediately. You're going to cooperate with the FBI investigation, and you're going to return every penny you stole. And if I don't, then I go to the FBI myself, and you spend the next 20 years in federal prison. Julian considers this. Then he laughs. It's not a pleasant sound. You think you've won, he says. You think you've outsmarted me. But Dominic, I've been planning this for 3 years. I have contingencies, I have leverage, and I have very powerful friends who do not appreciate being cheated. The Volkovs. The Volkovs. Julian's smile is cold. Who do you think will survive longer? A billionaire CEO with no security training and a bleeding heart? Or a man who's been doing business with the Russian mafia for 15 years? It's a threat, clear and unambiguous. And that's when Reese walks in. Special Agent Reese Chen, FBI. Julian Hayes, you're under arrest for money laundering, racketeering, and conspiracy to commit fraud. Julian's face goes white. You're FBI? The cleaning lady was FBI, Dominic says. Surprise! Behind Reese, 4 more agents file in, Marcus leading them, face grim but determined. We've been recording everything, Marcus says, gesturing to the hidden cameras. Your confession, your threats, your admission that you've been working with the Volkovs. That's more than enough for a conviction. Julian looks between them, realizing he's been played. You set me up. No, Reese says. You set yourself up. We just gave you enough rope to hang yourself with. The agents move in, reading Julian his rights, cuffing him. He doesn't resist, just stares at Dominic with pure hatred. Your father would be ashamed of you, Julian spits. My father, Dominic says quietly, taught me to stand up to bullies, to protect what matters, to never let corrupt men destroy good things. He steps closer. You're not just a thief, Julian. You're a coward, and you're going to spend the next 20 years thinking about that. They lead Julian out. The office falls silent. Dominic sits down heavily in his chair. Is it over? The criminal case is, Marcus says, but you're going to need to clean house. Anyone Julian had access to, any system he touched, needs to be audited. It'll take months. But my company's safe? Your company's safe, Marcus says, glancing at Reese. Agent Chen did good work. She's the reason we're arresting the right person instead of you. Dominic looks at Reese, and something passes between them. Gratitude, relief, something else she's not ready to name. Thank you, he says. Just doing my job. Marcus clears his throat. Agent Chen, a word. They step into the hallway. You were right. I'm sorry I doubted you. You were protecting the investigation. I get it. Still, he says. He studies her. This was a good collar. Important work. You should be proud. I am. But? She glances back at Dominic's office. But this one got personal. I broke protocol, got too close to the subject. I'm compromised. Marcus nods slowly. You are, which is why I'm recommending you take some time off. 2 weeks. Clear your head. Decide if undercover work is still what you want. It's not a punishment. It's a kindness. Thank you, Marcus. He taps her shoulder. Go home, Reese. Get some rest. And when you come back, we'll find you a new assignment, one where you don't fall for the subject. He walks away, leaving her alone in the hallway. She should leave, go home, follow orders, but she finds herself walking back to Dominic's office instead. He's still sitting at his desk, staring at nothing. You okay? She asks. He looks up, and the exhaustion in his eyes breaks her heart. I don't know, he admits. Julian was right about one thing. The Volkovs aren't going to be happy about this, and they're not the forgiving type. We'll protect you. Will you? He stands, walking towards her. Or will you disappear? Go back to being FBI agent Reese Chen, and I go back to being just another case file. Dominic. 6 weeks, he says. 6 weeks you were in my office every night. We talked, we laughed, you brought me coffee and listened to me complain about work and made me feel less alone. Was any of that real? She should lie, should maintain the cover story, the professional distance. But she's so tired of lying. It was real, all of it, and that's the problem. He steps closer. Why is that a problem? Because I'm an FBI agent. You're a witness in an ongoing investigation. There are rules, protocols, ethical violations. So when the investigation is over, When the investigation is over, I get reassigned, you rebuild your company, and we both move on with our lives. And if I don't want to move on, the question hangs in the air between them. Reese looks at this man, this good, honest, infuriating man, and knows that walking away from him will be the hardest thing she'll ever do. But it's the right thing, the professional thing, the thing that won't destroy both their careers. I'm sorry, I have to go. She turns to leave. Reese. She stops but doesn't turn around. Thank you, he says, for believing in me, for finding the truth, for being brave enough to risk your career to protect mine. I won't forget that. She nods, not trusting her voice, and walks away. She doesn't let herself look back.
If you're emotionally destroyed right now, you're not alone. Comment stay if you think she should choose love, or go if you think she should choose her career. And please, please hit that subscribe button, because I promise you this isn't over.
3 months later. The coffee shop is small, tucked into a quiet corner of the city where tourists don't go and locals keep to themselves. Reese sits by the window, watching the rain, nursing a cup of coffee that's gone cold. It's been 3 months since the Julian Hayes arrest, 3 months since she walked out of Dominic Pierce's office and tried to move on with her life. The FBI gave her a commendation. Marcus wrote a glowing review for her file. She's been offered promotions, prestigious assignments, everything she should want. But all she can think about is the way Dominic looked at her in that hallway, the question he asked, the answer she couldn't give. Her phone buzzes. It's a news alert. Pierce Technologies announces revolutionary encryption system. Stock soars 40%. She clicks a link, reading the article. Dominic is quoted extensively, talking about innovation, integrity, moving forward after recent challenges. There's a photo of him at the press conference, looking confident and professional. He looks good. He looks happy. He looks like he's moved on. Mind if I sit? She looks up and her heart stops. Dominic is standing there, umbrella dripping rain, wearing jeans and a sweater instead of his usual suit. He looks different, more relaxed, less like a CEO and more like a regular person. How did you find me? She manages. I'm a billionaire with access to excellent private investigators. He sits down without waiting for permission. Also, you told me once that you liked this place, that it reminded you of home. That was when I was undercover. Was it? Or was it one of the real things you told me during 6 weeks of fake ones? She doesn't answer. I've spent 3 months trying to move on, rebuilding my company, testifying against Julian, dealing with the fallout from the Volkovs, which, by the way, the FBI's witness protection offer is very generous, but I declined. That was stupid. Probably, he smiles, but I'm stubborn, and I don't run from fights. Dominic, I miss you, he says simply. I miss our conversations. I miss the way you made me laugh. I miss having you in my office, even if you were there to spy on me. And I know it's complicated. I know there are rules and protocols and very good reasons why we shouldn't be having this conversation, but I had to try, because some things are worth fighting for. Reese's chest aches. The investigation is still ongoing. Julian's trial is in 6 months. Until then, I'm a witness, you're a witness, and we can't— 6 months, he interrupts. I can wait 6 months. And if we're still not allowed to see each other after that, then I'll wait longer. He reaches across the table, not quite touching her hand, but close enough that she can feel the warmth. I built a company from scratch. I survived a money laundering investigation. I took down the Russian mafia. I think I can handle bureaucracy and red tape. She should tell him no, should protect them both from the complications, the scrutiny, the professional fallout. But for 3 months, she's been choosing duty over everything else. Maybe it's time to choose something different. 6 months, she says, and then we see what happens. His smile could light up the city. Deal. They sit there, in a quiet coffee shop while rain patters against the windows, not quite touching, but not quite apart either. And for the first time in 3 months, Reese feels like she can breathe.
Okay, but are you crying? Because I might be crying. Comment Team Reese or Team Dominic, or honestly just crying if you need to let it out. And if you loved this story, if it made you feel everything, please share it with someone who needs a good romance. Hit that like button, subscribe for more stories that will wreck you in the best way possible.
8 months later. The trial ends on a Tuesday. Julian Hayes is sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. The Volkov connections are severed. Pierce Technologies emerges stronger with new leadership, new protocols, and a reputation for integrity that's unshakable. And on a Friday evening, Reese Chen, no longer undercover, no longer pretending to be someone she's not, walks into the Pierce Technologies building through the front door. She's dressed professionally but comfortably, carrying a briefcase that actually belongs to her this time, her FBI credentials in her pocket, but she's not here on official business. The security guard waves her through with a smile. "Evening, Agent Chen. He's expecting you." She takes the elevator to the 34th floor. Dominic's door is open. He's standing by the window, looking out at the city, and when he turns and sees her, his face lights up in a way that makes her heart skip. "You're here," he says. "I'm here. How was your day?" "Long, paperwork, more paperwork, a deposition that took 4 hours." She sets down her briefcase. "How was yours?" "Board meetings, investor calls, the usual." He walks towards her, and there's no hesitation now, no professional distance, no rules keeping them apart. But it's better now. She loops her arms around his neck. "Yeah? Yeah." He kisses her, and it's everything their first kiss should have been 6 months ago. Honest, real, worth waiting for. When they pull apart, she's smiling. "I have news," she says. "Good news or bad news?" "Good news. Marcus approved my transfer. Starting next month, I'm moving to corporate fraud division. No more undercover work, no more lying about who I am." "And how do you feel about that?" "Relieved. Undercover work was exciting, but I'm ready for something different, something real." "I'm real." "Yes, you are. And I'm ready for this, for us, for whatever comes next." "Good, because I have news too." "Oh?" "I'm starting a foundation, using some of the money we recovered from Julian's operation to fund cybersecurity education. I want to make sure what happened to me doesn't happen to other companies, protect people who can't protect themselves." "That's amazing. And I was hoping," he continues, "that you might want to be on the advisory board. Your expertise would be invaluable." "Are you offering me a job?" "I'm offering you a partnership. In business, in life, in whatever you want it to be." She looks at this man, this good, stubborn, brilliant man who waited 8 months for her, who fought for them when it would have been easier to walk away, who chose integrity over everything else. And she knows with absolute certainty that this is where she's supposed to be. "Yes," she says. "Yes to the board position? Yes to all of it." He kisses her again, and somewhere in the city below, life goes on. People fall in love and fall apart. Criminals get caught, and innocent people go free. Secrets get revealed, and truths get buried. But here, in this office where they first met, where she was a fake cleaning lady and he was a man accused of crimes he didn't commit, they found something real, something worth fighting for, something worth waiting for. And that, Reese thinks, as Dominic holds her close, is better than any case she's ever solved.
And that's Billionaire CEO falls for cleaning lady unaware she's actually FBI. A story about trust, truth, and love that survives deception. If this story made you believe in second chances, in fighting for what matters, in choosing love even when it's complicated, please hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Velvet Shadows for more stories that make you feel everything. Next week, the most feared man in Seoul thought his accountant was a spy until the hidden cameras revealed the heartbeat she was desperately trying to hide. You won't want to miss it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for believing in these stories. I'll see you next week.